Okay, hey guys, this is my second video for your email subscription and free tip to get A. Now, this is actually based off of Marty, how do you pronounce his name? Marty Lobdell's lecture, who is 1 hour. He's a prof at another university, and he literally just went through 1 hour lecture on the how to study effectively and study smart and study less time. Okay, now the idea of that is there's ways to study that's ineffective, but you can put in a lot of time into it. For example, reading and reading and reading and reading times a gazillion times of your textbook. Okay, that doesn't do shit. Okay, but if you read with a purpose and use effective study methods, then you can effectively learn everything in a much shorter amount of time. Now, granted, this video is 1 hour long, and to be fair, it's a lot of bullshitting. Yeah, after watching it and taking notes on it, to be fair, I don't want to waste that hour again. And I'm pretty sure neither do you. So I'm just gonna show you the tips because, hey, I want to offer as much help as possible to the high schoolers out there who is working hard but not getting the results they want. So let's get on to it. Now, first tip is actually he recommends breaking things into chunks, which means breaking studying times into chunks. Now, to be fair, I said this again and again in my other videos. Stop cramming 5 hours at once. Get it? By the 5 hour, in fact, by the first hour, end of the first hour, your brain is like, stop, I need a break. And honestly speaking, your focus span for most high school kids, for most people, is about 30 minutes. 100% focused. So unless you happen to be some kind of genius, to which you can probably study like what, half the time, a third of the time, and you know everything, which I'm assuming most of you guys are pretty normal like me, not a genius, but willing to give a shit about your studying, then learn this. Break your studying habits into 25-minute study sessions, or maybe 30. Okay, and in the middle of it, give it like 5 to 10 minute break completely, and I mean completely away from the book, away from the topic. Heck, you have 10 minutes. Go make yourself some snacks. Okay, you have 10 minutes, go do some push up. 10 minutes, go washroom. Go text your friend. Go, I don't know, do whatever the shit you want. Just stop thinking about that freaking subject. Come think about it. 10 minutes later, you'll learn so much better. Okay, even if you have to cram in one day, what you can do is you do 25, 10, 25, 10. Trust me, the 10 minute, if you get that break, if you get it in, it'll do so much better in terms of studying than to sit there for 5 hours and falling asleep. Guarantee you that. Okay, I've been there, done that. Tried to cram in bullshit information from like, I don't know, all sorts of different literature and bio, where you have to memorize a shitload of stuff. And I have tried to literally just sit there for 5 hours trying to read. Literally speaking, by like an hour and a half, I am doing this. Here's the book. Here's me. Pat. Oh, wake up. Pat. Oh, wake up. Okay, bad idea. Second tip, have a study area. And this is actually pretty legit. The way I think about it is, think about it this way. Would you try to study in a washroom? Yeah, you get what I mean. So, you know, you go to washroom for a reason. You go to a restaurant for a reason. You go to a restaurant, you feel hungry. You go to a classroom, you feel focused. Why is that? Because humans are trained to be very, let's just say, well designed and conditioned to the environment around them. So that's why some people choose to go into a library to study. Okay, so have a study area designated for studying and it helps a lot. The moment you walk in the room, you feel like, okay, it's time to study. Cool? Now, third tip, the active learning. No. Passive learning is sitting there, be a SpongeBob. He's not very smart, is he? Right? So how you be a SpongeBob? Easy. Sit there, read, listen. Everything goes this and out. Why? Because you're not thinking about it. Active learning, on the other hand, makes learning a shit ton more effective. Okay? First step, how do you make active learning happen, is by thinking about the material. Not reading through just for facts. Okay, get this, you're not reading through just for facts. You're gonna read through with a purpose of answering some form of a question. Read through the textbook with answering some form of a learning objective. So here's what you do. I recommend, or more like most people, including that prof, recommend classifying the information into two things, either facts or concepts. Now, the way I like it is, literally speaking, I will go through the learning objective that the teacher will always give you. I know it's a piece of paper that people throw around like a paper airplane. Okay, but yes, that thing is actually useful. You read that learning objective, figure out what is the concept for the chapter, and then you read to understand that concept. You read to answer that concept. Okay, now obviously with facts, what, like, what's the fifth country in this world? I don't know. What's the largest country in this world? I don't know. That's facts. Okay, with that kind of information, you kind of just have to memorize. Okay, and I will show you ways to memorize later, as in tip number 6 or number 5, to show you how to memorize better. But for now, focus on the concept part. Is you want to read the textbook and try to understand the concept. And how you want to do that is you want to go for highlighting the key parts of the textbook. Now granted, everyone know how to do that. But the thing is, everyone reads it, highlights it, and then the next time they go back to it, they just assume they know. That's actually false, because human brains are extremely good at recalling information. What that means is, granted we have some form of a hint, some form of a cue, some form of something, like a open switch. Once you have the switch, you're like, oh, I get it. Oh, I know this. Yeah, okay, well on the test you don't have a switch. So guess what? You make your own switch. Okay? I'll tell you about how to do that later. Number 4 is taking effective notes. What that means is, don't take every single fucking word from the teacher's mouth. Stop doing that. Okay? Take down the key concepts. Take down the stuff that the teacher or the prof emphasizes. Okay? Take down those concepts. And in fact, I'll even go as far as to take down questions that you thought about during the exams. Sorry, not during the exams, don't do that. During the lectures, during the classes. And then try to find your answer to those questions. Or as the teacher is rambling onwards, you want to think about how can that concept link to the previous concept, or how can that concept link to anything else you know. Try to make sense of that. By doing that, you actually don't even need that much notes. In fact, you, like I said, you just go there, sit in class, and you listen, and you're like, oh, okay, this idea seems interesting. Write something about it, and then you go home and try to figure out that concept. Okay, if you don't get it, go ask your prof or your teacher. That will make the class actually fucking effective, as opposed to you reading or you sitting there trying to ramble and take down every single freaking word said from the teacher's mouth. And to be fair, most prof are shitty teachers. Most high school teachers, even shittier. So why do you want to take down their words? Take down just the concepts that you need for the learning objective. Remember, read through that fucking learning objective. It's so good, because it gives you an idea of what exactly is the key concept needed for the class. Okay? Now, number 5, summarize or to teach it to someone. It should be pretty obvious. The moment you're trying to teach it to someone, you're trying to think about the information and put it into your own words, or explaining some concept to some other guy or girl. Okay, and the thing is, if you can do that summarize and teaching part properly, then you know the concept. If you have a concept that you're not so sure on, you try to teach someone, what usually happens is you end up confusing the other person, and right there and then you kind of know that you fucked up big time. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to teach it to some friend or something, like have your friends, right, try to teach each other. Obviously not false information, but as you try to explain some concept that the other guy already knows pretty well, you'll see that you have some concepts that you seem a little bit iffy on, and that's the time you go back and read that textbook to try to fix that problem. Do you get what I mean? You, once you see a problem, you read the textbook to solve that problem. By doing that, you're not wasting your time, because your brain actually try to find that piece of information that you need. This is why the guides, like the how-to guides, the stuff that you read on the internet, are so memorable. You know why? Not because they're all that interesting, but because when you're reading them, you're actually trying to get something. Do you get it? You're trying to learn something. Your brain is like, oh, I gotta take in that information and process it. When normal people read a textbook, normal high school kids read a textbook, they're doing this. Read, read. But your brain is like, well, I don't care about this information. And as a matter of fact, most of us don't. Okay, so, do you want to ace your tests? Or, I mean, granted, you don't care about the info, but at the same time, you want to ace your test, right? So, here's what you do. You try to learn the concept, explain to someone, learn that you have some problems with it, go back and read the textbook to solve your problems. That's the best way. Okay, that's the absolute best way to understand a concept. Cool? Okay, now the last tip is actually something you've been taught since like what, elementary school? The SQ3R method, which is the survey, the question, the read, the read, recite, review. Now this is actually very simple. A survey is just asking questions. Read through, scan through, and then ask a question on what it's on. Go read it, and then go recite it, and then go review the information and you just recite it. It's very chunky, so don't do it. But you know what? Some parts of it is good. Some parts of it actually is good. For example, the surveying part, the learning objectives, the chapter reviews, to see the general idea of the concept. Those are fucking good. You know why? Because they show you the key concepts that they are trying to convey. If you get that and you're trying to understand it, guess what? You read it, you know it. Okay? Now, the one last tip that I said from before that I was going to tell you guys how to memorize better. Now, think about it this way. When you're going to your home, do you sit there and memorize how to get to your house? No, you don't. When you're trying to say, come up with the best makeup video for girls, or for guys, how to play some freaking online game, do you sit there and memorize the steps? You don't. Guess what? You're memorizing images. You're memorizing like sceneries, the cutscenes, the little short clips that you see on YouTube. You know why those are memorable? Because that's how human brain memorize stuff. So what it means is human brains are actually very, very nicely designed to memorize pictures. They memorize pictures a hell lot better than memorizing simple words or lines or like scribbles that otherwise meant nothing unless you know the language. So it's like, for example, you trying to memorize some other language that you're not good at, right? Like you see some scribbles, you actually remember that word better than if you were to know that word, because you're memorizing it as pictures. So here's what you do. Okay, my last tip for you guys, not from the lecture, or actually the tip is from the lecture, but the application of it is not. And the idea here is this: whenever you have something that you need to memorize, whenever you have something you need to memorize, here's what you do. You take a picture and associate that word to that picture as closely as possible. Okay, so for example, For example, you have photosynthesis. Okay, photosynthesis is a process that involves the sunlight, the water, the CO2, all that shit, right? How do you memorize the equation? Is you put it into simple pictures, and then make a story out of it, right? So, you have some sunlight, you hit the plant, and then that thing is gonna cause um, wow, some photosynthetic reactions that hits the photosystems, and then from photosystems it goes up some electron chain. Okay, sorry, that's besides my point. But you get what I mean. You try to make a picture, or you try to make a picture association or some kind of story in picture form, like in mangas or in cartoons. Like, remember those stuff like you like to read the picture books? You know why? Because those are exactly the way human brains take in information. Okay, so when you have new information to memorize, stop reading it just for the word. Find some ways, find some pictures where that thing seems awfully close to that stuff you're trying to memorize. If you can do that, then you know what? You memorize that information a ton easier. Okay, a ton easier. So that's basically just 6 tips, or yeah, 5 to 6 tips of this 1 hour lecture that I condensed into like what, about 12 minutes with the 4 minute of rant. Um, Basically speaking, I would say you guys go ahead and use these tips and see how it works for you. And I'm pretty sure your marks will improve drastically. Okay, so I thank you guys for visiting my website, and I thank you guys for sending me your emails, because I'll take that email and I'll mail you guys more tips and ways, and like, I'm looking at shooting tutorial videos for different high school subjects so that you guys can go and kick your high school teacher's ass in terms of attendance, because you just don't show up anymore. But you know what? You get that 95, you get that 97, you get that close to 100% without showing up. How does that sound to you guys? Pretty good? Yeah, then be sure to, if you're on YouTube, right, be sure to subscribe and like my channel for more value videos and more tips, and in fact more like condensed videos on your concepts that I'll be releasing weekly at the minimum basis, which means sometimes multiple times a week, and you guys can always check it out. Okay, so with that, I'll see you guys next time.